so hey there guys, so today's video is going to be yet another palettes I'm still interested in video, or not, or on the fence about. There are some maybes, there are some definites, and there are some flat out no's, or ones that I literally just talked myself out of, or there were ones that I was interested in initially, but then I talked myself out of them. So we have a few different categories to talk about. So I guess the way I'm going to start out first is tell you guys the one I ended up getting. The ones, I mean, not the one. I purchased a few. So like I said in my last video, I did end up purchasing the Glam Light Pizza Slice palette. This is the Meat Lovers palette. Everyone and their mom was telling me to try Glam Light, so I finally decided to get one of their palettes. And honestly, the quality of Glam Light is amazing. I absolutely love their eyeshadows, so I highly recommend any of their palettes. I think that the Pizza Slice palettes are a pretty good place to start with Glam Light, because if you like the food-themed palettes, I think that these are a pretty good one to start with. Or the Street Taco palette, like if you don't want too many shades, I think that these mini versions of their bigger food-themed palettes are a pretty good alternative if you don't want to, like, why does my highlight look different on this side than this side? I hope I didn't, actually, no, it looks fine. I don't know why I'm tripping. Okay, and then, or the Street Taco palette, because, like, I think the smaller versions of their palettes are a really good way to start out with their shadows if you don't want to purchase, like, the bigger ones. Then the other palette I ended up picking up was the Gimme Glow Extra Spicy palette. I was dying to try another palette from Gimme Glow because you guys know they were pretty much my all-time favorite formula that I tried this whole year. This was actually the #1 palette for me this whole year. Like, this was my favorite palette that I've tried all year. It's absolutely amazing. So I absolutely love these warm-toned shades. It was such a great palette to use for the summer. Such a fun palette. It's just so gorgeous. So I loved using this palette. I just want to quit some stuff because I feel like my computer's like being weird. So, yeah, I love Gimme Glow. I can't rave about them enough. They are absolutely amazing quality. If you haven't tried their eyeshadows, their shimmers are like literally my favorites. They are so unreal. They're just amazing. Okay, then the next one, which I am wearing on my eyes today, is the Winky Luxe Coffee palette. This is actually called the Coffee Kitten palette now. I just did a pretty easy look with it today because I want to utilize it a little bit more, because I actually did end up picking up a couple more palettes that I will tell you guys about. But this is a really nice everyday palette. It's really nice and simple to use. It's a really nice beginner-friendly formula. So yeah, if you're not looking for anything too crazy, I think that the Winky Luxe formula is really, really nice. So, and then the last one is the Bailey Sarian and Estate Cosmetics Venice Fling palette. Again, I was trying to talk myself out of this one, but I ended up getting it anyway because I love Bailey and I wanted to support her. And this is a pretty good palette. It's not my absolute favorite formula. I think that the mattes are a bit dry and so are the shimmers, but they're all very pigmented and perform very well. I think that I prefer this formula over like the Ace Beauté formula, because I think that one's kind of way drier, and I think I like the shimmers more in this palette than that one. So yeah, I had never tried Estate palettes before or their formula, so I kind of wanted to try that, and I wouldn't have tried them unless, you know, if Bailey didn't come out with a palette. So now we are going to get into the palettes that I am definitely going to get. So let's do that first. So let's start out with Pinky Rose. I know I keep on talking about Pinky Rose and how much I want to get the Pinky Rose palette, but I think I'm finally going to pick it up next month. Because honestly, it looks like a really beautiful, why can't I find their eyeshadow palettes right now? Right here in front of my face. So there's the palette I'm deciding to get is the Center Stage palette, and I have talked about this palette quite a few times in these videos, but I'm finally going to get it next month. So this is what the shades look like. They're really pretty, like, fall colors, and I just thought it would be a perfect palette for me to get for the fall time. So I'm gonna get it next month. So I'm really excited to try that out. I've heard nothing but amazing things about their formula, so I'm really, really excited. So that's the first one that I'm definitely going to get. But this is actually the first one that I'm going to get next, because this one's actually restocking very soon, and I'm pretty sure I might have talked about this in the last video, but I don't think it was out yet at the time. So people keep on trying to tell me to purchase and try Cindy Grace, so I'm finally going to get one of their pre-made palettes, because they did come out with a couple of pre-made palettes for the summertime, and the one that I'm interested in getting, and they're going to restock this in about 2 weeks, is the Summer Days palette, and this is what it looks like. It's a really beautiful everyday 9-pan palette, which is kind of in my go-to. So it has 5 mattes in here. Yeah, 5 mattes and 4 shimmers. So there's like a really pretty mix of like rich toned browns, which you guys know I love for my crease. And then there's some really pretty like super foiled metallic like goldy bronze shades, like these 2 shades right here, which are S'mores and Campfire, which again, such a great palette for fall time, but it's called Summer Days, but I kind of think about it as being like a fallish palette as well. And then Basque and yeah, 4 shimmers and 5 mattes. Basque and Blood Orange look really gorgeous too. So I'm super excited to try Cindy Grace. I just didn't get it until, I'm not going to get it until it restocks again, because I think when it came out, I had already gotten the Give Me Glow palette and the Glam Light, or I might have been on a no-buy for eyeshadows in July, because the only months that I was on a no-buy this year for eyeshadows was January and July, so I was trying to be a little bit better about not getting every single palette, but I'm really excited to try this one. And then the other one that I'm pretty set on buying, I'll probably just look it up on Sephora. And for some reason, I kept on trying to talk myself out of this palette, but I'm pretty set on getting it now, and I think I'm going to pick it up during the Sephora VIB sale this year, and that is the Melt Cosmetics She's in Parties palette. Now, I do own one other Melt palette, and that is the Melt Rust palette, and you guys know how much I loved that palette. That was like in my top favorite palettes that I've tried this year as well. I pretty much fell in love with Gimme Glow's formula, and I'm just trying to see my highlight. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I don't know why it's like throwing me off in person. I don't know why it looks so different, but it should be the same highlighter, because when I looked at it up close, it looks the same. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. So, but yeah, this palette just looks so beautiful and pretty for the fall time. I think it looks like such a beautiful mix of purple shades. So I'm really excited for this one. It has I think it has 5 shimmers in this one and only 3 mattes. I thought it had more mattes in here. I don't know. I didn't realize that it only had 3 mattes, because the Rust palette has more mattes than shimmer shades, and so did the 420 palette. So I'm actually kind of surprised, but they just look so stunning. They look like such beautiful purples. So I'm really excited to try this one. And I've been really wanting a purple palette for a while, and this is the one I'm kind of set on getting. Again, Melt Cosmetics isn't that cheap, but since it's going to be on sale, that was weird. It like zoomed all the way out, like really small. Since it's going to be on sale, why is that annoying the crap out of me? Like, it keeps on reflecting off of my necklace. Sorry if it's like blinding you. But since the VIB sale gets you 20% off, I wanted to try it during that time. So, yeah, so I'm pretty excited to try that one. Now I'm also going to tell you guys the ones I ended up picking up. I'm waiting for them to come in the mail, but I am going to show you the ones that I ended up buying. So one of the palettes that I ordered, I think it was like last week or something, and I think I mentioned this as one I was interested in during the last video of the palettes I'm still interested in. And this is the BH Cosmetics Sugar Cone Eyeshadow Palette. So I've been hearing really good things about these palettes, and actually Glamlight just came out with an ice cream palette as well, but BH Cosmetics has had these like 8-pan ice cream themed palettes out for a little while now, but they are limited edition. And I've been hearing really good things about them, and I've never tried BH's formula yet, so I really wanted to pick up one of these. So of course I picked up the neutral toned one. So this one is going to come in the mail by like Friday or Saturday, and I'm definitely going to film a first impressions on it. And you're going to see that before I haul it anyway, so it's not really any news for me to share it with you right now. And these videos are supposed to be what I want to share with you guys on what I pick up. So, but it has 4 shimmers and 4 mattes in it, and I think it looks like a really beautiful everyday palette. And I've heard that the metallics are super shimmery and metallic, and the mattes are really nice and rich and blendable. So I'm really excited to try out this palette, so I'm really excited for that. Okay, and then the next one, sorry, I'm just getting a bunch of Instagram messages. It's a little bit annoying. So I have been wanting to try out the Ofra Cosmetics eyeshadow formula for quite a while now. I keep on mentioning that I wanted to pick up the Sweet Dreams palette. A couple of times in these videos, I mentioned it like back in like March or April, and then I also mentioned it in like the last video. But I decided to pick up a different palette because I actually ended up finding out that Leora Loves Makeup 52 actually came out with a curated little collection with Ofra, and she did come out with a curated 5-pan eyeshadow palette. Originally, I wasn't going to get this because the next palette I ended up ordering was her curated palette. So it is a 5-pan palette that comes with 3 mattes and 2 shimmers. And originally, I was like, I'm not really interested in the color story, but there's only 2 shimmers in it. And one of them is one of their face highlighters anyway. It's just a mini version. This is their highlighter shade in the shade Blissful. And then the rest of the eyeshadows are all pre-existing eyeshadows in their line because it is a curated palette. It's not a original custom palette that was made for her. So I was like, you know what? I kind of want to try it. It looks like a fun little palette. I like that there's a pop of green in there, and the mattes are mattes that I could use with any look. So I decided to pick it up, and I'm so happy for Leora. So I am excited to finally try out their eyeshadow formula. So those are the palettes that I'm getting, the palettes that I'm going to be getting in the future, and the palettes that I already got. So now let's talk about a couple of palettes that I am still interested in. There's really not too many, but I'm still going to mention them anyway. So the first one that I was interested in, sorry, I'm just writing something down before I forget it. Okay. So, like I told you guys, I am still interested in trying anything from Makeup Menagerie that ends up interesting me. They still haven't come out with a palette that I'm kind of interested in. Like, if they come out with a palette that has, like, a lot of neutrals and a twist of, like, a couple of colorful shades, I think I'll be interested in getting it. But they still haven't really come out with anything that I'm like super interested in, so I haven't gotten anything from them yet. I've still been on the lookout and checking their Instagram and stuff like that, but they still haven't really released anything that I really need to get. So I just wanted to tell you guys that first. Okay, then the next palette. So I know I told you guys the last time I did this video, I was interested in getting a Pat McGrath palette. But I really can't justify the price of buying her palettes, even with the 20% off price tag. I think it's ridiculous how expensive her palettes are. But she did release this little mini palette that kind of looks really, really pretty. I might pick it up during holiday, or I might honestly pick it up during the Sephora VIB sale. But this is more expensive than the Melt palette that comes with 10 shades. This comes with 6 shades and it retails for $65. So again, I'm more interested in the other products from Pat McGrath because I am still interested in picking up the foundation and concealer for the VIB sale rather than her eyeshadows, because I'd rather spend $60 on the foundation because it'll end up being $50 than purchasing the eyeshadow palette that's only 6 pans and it's $65. I just think it's too expensive, but I do think that this is a pretty palette. So this is the Mothership Rose Decadence eyeshadow palette. So this is kind of like the 3rd or 4th palette that she's come out with like the rose line. And it is getting a bit tiresome, but I think that these colors are pretty. So I don't know, but I feel like she should have come out with something like this during like the springtime, but maybe they were delayed because of COVID, and maybe that's why she's releasing all these rose themed palettes now. I mean, people probably need to realize that most brands are kind of coming out with a lot of stuff because they were delayed because of the coronavirus. So, but this looks really pretty. It comes with 2 mattes. It's like a pink and like a darker pink magenta-y shade. And then there's 4 shimmers, which I've heard that her shimmers are amazing. So since I've tried Natasha Denona and I've tried a lot of her, I've tried 2 of her 5-pan palettes and a couple of her bigger palettes, I'm kind of interested in trying Pat McGrath still, but I still can't justify the price because even the Natasha Denona $65 palettes are so much more worth it than this, because you get 15 shades in those palettes and this is 6 shades, so it's still like overpriced as hell. So I'm not really sure yet, but I am going to keep my eye on it. If it goes on sale after the holidays, I might pick it up then. If it's like half price, then maybe I'll pick it up for like $40 or something. Then the next one is, okay, there are a couple palettes that I want to talk about. So let's go to Pure's website. I'm not sure if it's still available on the website, but let's talk about it. Actually, I don't think it's even available on the site anymore. So let me just search for it real quick. Okay, so the next palette that I was kind of interested in picking up, but it's not available anymore, and I saw the reviews on it and people weren't too crazy about it, but I've never tried Pure Cosmetics eyeshadow formula, but I haven't heard the best things about their eyeshadows. People say they're good, they're not like, or they're like kind of so-so, like they're kind of hit and miss, like they're not very consistent, and even the palettes that are good, there's still some shadows in there that aren't that great, so I've never really been interested in getting their palettes. But I was kind of interested in getting the Pure Times Raw Beauty Christy palette, so this is what it looks like. So it came with like a more neutral side, and then it came with a more colorful side, but mostly the majority of the palette was matte, and it only came with, I think the colorful side maybe came with 2 shimmers. No, it just looks like 1. So honestly, like for me to have 2 shimmers and all of these mattes, I didn't think I really needed it, because I would need like a little bit more variety with my shimmers, even though again, like shimmers always overwhelm me with how many that are in there. It would have been an easier palette to try, but honestly it's not that practical for me to get, because I know I wouldn't end up using the colorful side as much as the neutral side. So this was the colorful side, and it came with, you know, 8 match like colorful shades, like kind of like a rainbow color scheme, and then like 1 shimmer shade. And I was like, it doesn't really appeal to me because I don't really use matte shades as much as shimmer shades. I mean, of course I use mattes every single day, but I need my shimmer. And then this was the neutral side. It came with a really pretty array of colors. Honestly, if it was just like this, I probably would have just picked it up. I wish she would have like kind of made the double-sided palette and then 2 individual ones where you could get either the neutral one or you could get the colorful one. I think that would have been a better strategy because some people don't always want all these color options, but it was a really good price for what you got. But I think if the palette would have been just like this, I probably would have picked up just this side, but I didn't need all those extra shades. But I do think that this looked really pretty, but then I saw reviews on it, and some people said that they don't really blend out that well. They're very hard to blend out, especially the mattes. They said that the shimmers were really good, but since there was only 2 shimmer shades, I'm like, I don't really need it if I'm only going to like 2 shimmer shades, so I decided to skip out on that palette. But I do really like Raw Beauty Kristi, and I do want to try Pure at some point, but I don't think I'm going to try their formula until like next year or something if they release something that like actually appeals to me. So then the next palette I was really interested in, and I actually was really set on getting this, but again, I am trying to stray away from ColourPop this year, and I really have skipped over quite a bit of palettes from them. I ended up getting other things from their collections rather than the eyeshadow palettes, but I just thought that this color scheme looked so pretty, so I was going to get the ColourPop Garden Variety eyeshadow palette, and this is what it looks like. It was one of their 15 pan eyeshadow palettes. I'll give you guys a closer look of the eyeshadows. So it was like a really pretty mix of like purples and a green shimmer and some really beautiful like peachy brown mattes and a really nice like rich purpley color. Rich tone purple matte. Losing my words again. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mattes, I believe, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 shimmers. So I feel like that would have been a little bit overwhelming for me, especially since I have picked up quite a few palettes this year. I decided to skip over it, but I just thought the packaging was so stunning on this collection, like with the gardenias and everything. I think they're gardenias. They're just so, it's just beautiful. But I think that this was like one of their spring collections that got delayed because of COVID, and they came out with it like July or August, but this would have been such a stunning spring collection. But I ended up picking up the blush and lip oil duo rather than the palette. And I'm really happy that I got that instead. So I decided to skip over this one. Then the next one is, I'll pull it up really quick. So the next one would have been a Beauty Bay palette. Now, let me see if I can find it. Makeup palettes, eyeshadow palettes. So the next one was the Beauty Bay Nikkie Tutorials times Beauty Bay Pressed Pigment Palette. So this is what it looks like. So it does come with a very good variety of mattes and shimmers. There are 20 shades in the palette, and it came with 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 mattes, and the rest were shimmers. So again, a lot of shimmers for me to try out. It would have been 12 mattes and 8 shimmers. Now, I've never picked up any of, you know, Nikkie Tutorials eyeshadow palettes in the past. I mean, the only other one that she actually did was the Too Faced The Power of Makeup one, and everybody knows the debacle of that palette. So a lot of people like ended up not really trusting Nikkie again, but then she came out with the collaboration with Ofra, and since Ofra is such an amazing brand and amazing highlighting formula, I did pick up that highlighter from her. So I was kind of interested in getting this, but again, I wish that they would have released like a mini version of this, of like the dark side and the light side of this palette, because that's kind of the concept of this palette, is like a light side and a dark side. But again, like, I mean, I did really want to try Beauty Bay's formula, but as I was looking through their eyeshadows, I'm like, there wasn't really any other palettes I was interested in besides this one. But I don't know, I really don't need this many color options, but it's not too much color, so I'm glad that she kind of made it a palette that's still fun, but like approachable, and there's not too many colorful shades in it, so I feel like someone that likes neutrals could also dip their toes into color using this palette. So I think she did a really good job of making the color scheme like very approachable and usable and easy to use to make like some really nice looks with it, so you don't have to be afraid of color. But for me, I just didn't need it, so I ended up skipping over that. And then the last one that I wanted to talk about, there's only like 2 or 3 I want to talk about. So the other one, so I've been really interested in trying more products from this brand. And this brand is called Alamar Cosmetics, and I have tried their blushes and lip glosses. I do have one gloss and one of their blush trios. And this is Kathleen Light's Friends makeup line. So the new palette that she came out with is this really beautiful Spanglish collection, and it's called the Spanglish palette, and it comes with 4 mattes and 4 shimmers. So I thought this would have been a really pretty palette, but again, I feel like this would have been a palette that I could have worn or would have like screamed more springtime to me. So I don't think I'm going to pick up this palette until next year, but I am really interested in it. I have been very interested in trying her eyeshadow formula. The last 2 palettes that she came out with, I thought they were really pretty, but I ended up not getting either of them because they were more so colorful palettes. I mean, the first palette she came out with was a really nice like balance of colorful shades and neutral shades, but this one I just thought was really, really pretty. It has really pretty like rich toned mattes in it, like really nice brown tones, and then this really pretty pink, and then these really pretty like pops of purple shimmer. But again, I just felt like I wouldn't really get enough use out of it right now, but I am interested in getting it at some point. And then the last one that I ended up talking myself out of, I did say I was interested in this one in the last video. I am still interested in trying a couple of products from this line. But again, I'm just going to like calm down with makeup for a little while because like I said, I already picked up the palettes that I'm interested in. And then I'm going to pick up the Cindy Grace palette, and that's really it for this month. I'm really not going to get anything else this month. And I did pick up 1 or 2 things from Rare Beauty, so I'm pretty good right now makeup-wise. So like I said, the other palette I was interested was the Uoma Beauty Allure Black Magic color palette, and I just thought it was such a gorgeous color scheme. This does look really beautiful. I might pick this up like next year, but this year I'm really just trying to limit myself now because I have picked up a lot of palettes this year. I've already picked up more palettes at this point in the year than I did the entire year last year. I picked up 13 eyeshadow palettes last year. I just picked up my 13th palette this year in August. So I'm really trying to just slow down. Why am I getting like a weird film on my lips? Give me a sec. Yeah, it does look like a really beautiful color scheme. Again, it has 5 shimmers and 5 mattes in it, and I just thought it was such a beautiful curated color scheme. But I might try it again, or I might try other products from them at some point. But I think I'm going to hold off on the eyeshadow palette for a little while. And then the last one I wanted to talk about real quick, which again, I was kind of interested in getting this one. I'm probably going to get this one over the Pat McGrath one, or even over the Melt one, because I forgot that I was interested in this palette. So I've never tried, I mean, I don't know when they're restocking this one, but I really wanted to try, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in my last video, is the Dior Backstage eyeshadow palette, and this one is the Amber Neutrals one. I just thought it was a much better price point than the Pat McGrath one and the Charlotte Tilbury, because I did talk myself out of getting Pat McGrath and Charlotte Tilbury. I'm like, they're just too expensive. Natasha Denona definitely has more approachable price points than Charlotte and Pat. Like, maybe take a note out of her book, because Natasha was like the most expensive palette that you could get on the market, and now she's finally learning and making more approachable price points for people, and I think that she's doing a little bit better now. But I thought that this was a pretty good price. It's $49 for 9 shades, and it's freaking Dior. But again, like I said, I feel like the Backstage palettes are a little bit more of an approachable price point, and it comes with a few mattes and a couple of shimmers, and I just think it looks like a really pretty fall winter palette. So I might pick this up over the Pat McGrath one around the Sephora VIB sale. I'm not sure if I'm even going to pick up the Melt one anymore. I'm not really sure yet. It just looked like a really pretty palette. So I don't know if I might pick up 2 palettes. I'm not really sure. But I keep on going back to this one. So we will see, because I kind of want to try like a higher end formula. And I do really like Dior as a brand. I've never really been disappointed from any products that I've tried from them. Their highlighters are great. Their foundations are amazing. Their concealers are great. Their lip products are great. Their mascara is great. So actually I haven't really tried any of their lip products, but everything else I've tried from them has been amazing. And then I think that's pretty much it. I pretty much talked myself out of getting the ABH Norvina palettes. I talked myself out of getting a bunch of ColourPop palettes this year. And that's pretty much it, you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just wanted to kind of like share my wish list with you guys for the palettes I'm still interested in getting for the rest of the year, and the palettes I already picked up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media. I have to go run an errand in another town. It's kind of far. So I have to go. So I love you guys. Bye. And let me know what palettes you guys are interested in. Let me know if you guys are interested in picking up any of these palettes that I mentioned. I really would like to know. I just really want you guys to comment in the comments, because I always like hearing what you guys are interested in. So yeah, that's it. Bye.